everybody, just a bit of a quick update, and I'm going to talk as usual in my normal semi-rambling way and inform you about what's been going on. So, first things first, we've got our first Wednesday night at the Book Cafe on Corn Market in Derby for our games night. That's coming up. Genuinely very excited about this because since Bean Cafe just kind of turfed us out into the cold a couple of months back, we've had trouble finding a good venue, and Book Cafe seem to really want us to be there. It's going to be a 3-month trial, make sure that everything goes all right. In other words, make sure they get enough cash from us, which is fair enough. So, yeah, Book Cafe, last Wednesday of the month, every month. That's going to be sort of all afternoon through into the evening. Family friendly, everybody's welcome. Going to be playing all sorts of things as usual. I am just really pleased we've got a new home, albeit on a trial basis. So, how about me? What have I been playing? Well, let's put that aside for the moment and talk about the big news. In 2009, Space Hulk was reissued by Games Workshop in its definitive limited edition 3rd edition, never to be produced again, until this year, when they decided that they were going to produce it again with a little bit of extra stuff and 15 quid on the price tag, which is reasonable considering it's gone up 15 quid in 5 years. I think that's fair. And okay, so Games Workshop are a funny one. It's kind of popular to hate on them, but at the same time, it's completely understandable because they're a big bunch of bastards. And then you get things like Space Hulk, and Space Hulk is like a little time warp. It's like a little crack in the wall. You know, Games Workshop's this big, grey, featureless, oppressive wall of annoyance and price hikes, and it's depressing, is what I'm trying to get across. And then you see this little chink in the wall, and you can see through, and there's a light, and that light shows you what Games Workshop used to be. They used to be like, you know, they used to be fun, they used to make good games, they used to make things with drama and atmosphere, or just stuff that was a bit daffy and entertaining. Space Hulk is one of those games where I keep expecting it to suck, and it doesn't. Every time I play it, it's good. I enjoy it. It's not perfect. There are other games that kind of do the similar things these days, of course, but Space Hulk is like, it's one of those things that kind of draws you back and makes you go, you know what? These guys were good once, and anybody who didn't buy the 2009 edition now has a chance to own a copy again. You know? And everybody who does have the 2009 edition is feeling really pissed off, because there's a new edition, which is basically exactly the same as the old one, only it has a little bit of extra thing. 4 new missions, some extra boards. Man, wish they wouldn't do this crap, you know? Anyway, Space Hulk is back tomorrow. It gets released tomorrow. By the time you're watching this, that'll be today. Saturday. It's released on Saturday. It's Friday right now. So if you don't have it and you have the funds, get it. I kind of wish people wouldn't just scalp it so they can boost the price on eBay. I kind of wish people wouldn't just buy it for the miniatures and break it apart for pieces. It's a good game, you know. Buy it to play it. Buy it to enjoy it. Buy it to speculate. Okay, some people will. And you can't really blame them at all, to be honest. It's a hot ticket. You can make your money back. You can make a profit. It's fair enough in that respect. But when people buy 5 copies at a time just to store them to sell them later, kind of rubs me up the wrong way, you know. 1 copy is a nest egg. I can kind of understand that. I mean, it's a pretty much a reasonable thing to do, I would say. Anyway, expensive games is the link to the next thing. The next after the next. Let's dodge that and go back to something else. I bought Viva Java, the coffee game, the dice game, which has got the really bad title, I'm afraid. Otherwise known as Viva Java Dice, which I think is a bit more reasonable. Good game. Similar to King of Tokyo, except not as colourful and kiddified, which some people might be put off by, I guess. It's got a bit more to it. It's better than King of Tokyo in its decision making, I think. Still a dice game, but it's got a bit of brains to it. You know, it's a nice game. It still can be a bit wonky in places. I think the 1 and 2 player games suffer from a bit of runaway leader. If somebody gets a coffee blend early, it scores every turn. And the problem is that if they get it early and you just don't have the dice to knock them off it, then it can become quite one-sided, and before too long you're way behind and the other person's way ahead. Whereas with more players, you've got more options, more chance of another player taking that score off them. Within two-player, if you don't, then tough. So, I'm not so convinced with its 1- and 2-player games, but the 3- and 4-player games are entertaining. I do like it. I think it's a good game, and I may well review it in future. But yeah, it's been a nice little, well-produced, very well-themed, excuse me, and just generally quite entertaining little dice game for people who don't like dice games, I would say, because it's not as much of a crapshoot. You don't get the artsy re-roll business. The dice are generally useful for something, and you can choose what you do a lot more. It's cool. The other game I got hold of. Okay, if you follow me on Twitter, you'll know I yap on about this all the goddamn time. I don't shut up about it, and it's because it's been playing on my mind. Sometimes you'll find a game and you really, really like it. Something about it, you just, just something gets in your head and you just, I've got to get this game. Sometimes that's a bad thing. Sometimes that thing is Rivet Wars Eastern Front. Okay, here's the caveat, right? That game is really expensive, like way too expensive. Although, I've been thinking about that and I'm not sure it's true, but go with me for a minute. Okay, so that game is very, very expensive. I got it at a massive discount and half of it was paid for with birthday money, so I didn't pay much at all for it. I've played one game so far and it's been an absolute blast. I really liked it. It gave me that hit of the sort of miniatures game, rolling dice and killing each other. It gave me that hit of that real-time strategy feel where like spawn monsters, blow stuff up, Okay, real-time strategy games. I know it's supposed to be about being clever and strategic and capturing things and blowing stuff up in a tactical manner, in a way that makes you seem like you're the commander of a vast force. No. Let's be honest. What you really do is want to see what a million tanks will do at once. What you want to know is, what happens if I build exclusively helicopters and send them in a swarm? What happens when I build 200 nukes? Really, that's what people play those games for, I think. Real-time strategy games. Rivet Wars is like that. It's like you can send in the troops, they get killed, but you have other things, and you can just keep respawning and sending in new troops and new cavalry. And yeah, okay, the number of units is limited. But I don't know, I see potential in this game. The problem is that at full retail, that's a hell of a lot to pay for like a beer and pretzels war game. It's a hell of a lot to pay for potential. It really, really is. But I don't know, something about it just spoke to me. Maybe it was the cool miniatures, maybe. I don't think so. It just looked good. It just appealed. It just got something in my head. So now I have a copy, and I'm enjoying it, and there is expansions on the way, and I'm probably going to get those somehow. So yes, welcome to the new rabbit hole. I will review it once I've played the scenarios a bit more in depth, once I've played both sides, because there's a lot of people complaining about imbalance, and the funny thing is, there's a lot of complaints that one side always wins, but nobody has said which side that is, which is strange. I can imagine it might have a bit of a first player advantage problem, but we'll see what's borne out in the wash. One thing I'd like to say, which is Shut Up and Sit Down's Quinn's, what's his name? Quentin Tarantino. I can't remember, but Quinn's from Shut Up and Sit Down. Annoyingly can't remember his name now, which is just going to bug me for the rest of the day. He said he'd played it and it felt like the miniatures existed and somebody asked somebody to knock up some rules and they did it in like an afternoon. I disagree. I think he's entirely right that the miniatures came first. I think the design came first and the figures came first. And the idea of making a game to do with them did evolve from that. I don't think the rules are as simple and crap as everyone says or seems to think. There's some really interesting ideas that I've not seen before. It is basically, you roll dice and kill each other a lot. But I don't know. It's got a lot of like ebb and flow, back and forth. You've got a tide of soldiers go out there and get cut to bits. But it's got a really unique feel. It doesn't feel like an ordinary war game, and I really like its kind of idea that each time you can kind of spawn a combination of troops and send them in different ways. It's just the price tag, man. For the price you pay for that, yes, you can buy a lot of better games. Probably 2 better games or 3 better games for the price. But I really enjoyed it. So, what can you say? We'll be seeing more of this one. Not much else to say, really, other than I had a rather nice birthday. And, yeah, I'm going to be doing a review pretty soon. I know I keep saying that. I'm sorry. It will happen. Anyway, for now, this is me. That's you. I have a cup of tea. I bought a couple of games, played some stuff, and you should do the same. Bye for now.